Good evening. Tonight's Echo features strong language and scenes that some may find disturbing. A full list of content warnings can always be found via a link in the description box. Remember, your peace of mind matters above everything else. Please enjoy. The beasts of the winter night were only a concern if your Lupika-branded repulsor unit hadn't been set up correctly. Inside her log cabin, one that had been repurposed to withstand the harsh elements of the world outside, Irene lived alone in the middle of nowhere. It was almost dinner time, and as a blizzard outside tickled the windows and the fire embers crackled under the mantelpiece, she waited for someone at Lupika to come and fix her repulsor unit. They said it had been broken for almost a week now, which was a week longer than anyone's unit should be broken for if they were to continue living. In her kitchen, a small mustard-coloured one that always smelled of smoked haddock, the kettle roared beside Irene as she peeked through the window above the sink to the white abyss beyond her cabin, punctuated by an old lamppost from decades past. The blizzard made it hard to see much, not that there was much to see as it was, but she wanted to make sure the lamppost in her backyard was still there, standing tall. If it was still standing, everything was going to be okay. And, luckily for Irene, it was, indeed, still standing.
There is nothing out there. There is nothing out there.
Slumping down in her recliner, watching countdown reruns on the telly with a steaming caramel coffee in her hand and a blanket draped over her, she waited patiently for a knock at the door. Advice from the government had stipulated that one must vacate the property of the damaged repulsor unit for the safety of the resident, and if one cannot vacate the property, they should remain inside with the blinds closed and the doors locked up tight. Irene didn't have anywhere else to go, so she settled for the latter. She was getting on a bit now too, and couldn't keep up with all the globe-trotting adventures her grandson presumably always went on. Not like Irene would know for certain, though, as she had never even met her grandson. Either way, Irene was born in the cold, and if she had her way, she was going to die in the cold too. That Lupika employer was certainly taking their time, though, and if death were to come for Irene that day, she hoped it would not be at the mercy of the Snowbeasts. Right on time, the doorbell chimed a jaunty tune, Carol of the Bells, and Irene went over to answer it. It took her a moment, with muscles squeezing and bones wobbling during each passing step, until she checked through the keyhole, saw no Snowbeasts outside, and opened the door. Irene's leathery skin was no match for the cold, no matter how warm she wrapped herself, so she didn't intend to dilly-dally with the door open for long.
"Hello,"
said the employee, wearing a white, pink, and snow-covered jacket as the pale abyss licked at their back.
"I'm from the Lupika Corporation. I'm here to fix your unit, alright?"
Her accent was hard to place. She must have been from Sussex, but no one had lived there for donkey's years, so she mustn't have been as young as her bubbly voice made her sound.
May I come in?"
she asked, needing the formal invitation.
Of course.
Irene nodded, holding her sides tightly.
It's just over here, my love.
Irene stood aside and let the employee in, closing the door behind her to muffle the harsh sounds of the blizzard outside, and keeping the much-desired heat where it was paid to be.
"Alrighty, where is the little bugger?"
She could have been Irene's daughter. She must have been her age, certainly, judging by the youthfulness present on her sharp cheekbones.
It's just in there.
Irene pointed to a small cupboard, akin to that of a fuse box, and smiled.
May I take your coat? Would you like some tea?
Nah, you're alright. I'll be out of your hair in no time. Just gotta fire this baby up and I'll be off.
Oh, okay.
I'm Genevieve, by the way.
She shook Irene's hand gently.
Jen's fine though, please, or we'll be here all day, eh?
Jen had already stormed over to the housing of the repulsor unit by the time Irene had chance to catch her name and reply with her own. A framed picture on the coffee table caught the employee's eye for just a moment. It was one of Irene, a much younger Irene, standing in front of one of those fancy interactive whiteboards with young art students on either side of her, with one more on her left than on her right. An uneven number, sure, but they were still smiling all the same.
Sorry that this took so long, Irene. I was forbidden from entering the premises last week. They said there was no way in hell I was coming down here. No way, no how. The weather's too cold, they said. Unbelievable, right?
Irene slunked her way back into her recliner, eyes fixated on the woman.
You're here now. That's all that matters.
Absolutely.
She pulled open the cupboard doors and looked inside at the unit.
You're the last one on my list too, so once I'm done here, I'm popping back home for some dinner and having a well-deserved nap. Girlfriend's making me a curry. Can't wait. And I gotta get out of here before the storm really kicks it into overdrive, you know? Might even catch the full moon tonight if we're lucky.
How long do you think it will take? You're more than welcome to stay if...
20 minutes, at most.
On the device were 3 pulsing circles that determined how the device was functioning. The circles, in Irene's case, were blue.
The battery's fried. 3 blue lights are a no-go.
Really? I thought they were...
Blue lights mean a fried battery now. New system. Purple lights mean you're good to go, and red lights mean you're probably dead.
Jen chuckled, and Irene did not.
Anyway, easy fix, really. I carry dozens of spares.
Well, you learn something new every day, don't you? I didn't even know batteries could do that.
It's a bit of a design flaw, I must admit. These things can hold off anything. Vampires, snowbeasts, those weird flying bear thingies. Whatever you need, but conk out all the time in this weather. Typical, eh?
You don't believe in vampires and werewolves, do you?
Why not? I'm open-minded, me. Wouldn't mind getting a cheeky nibble from a blood-sucking Batwoman every now and then. Sorry, I don't even believe in snowbeasts, truth be told. I've never seen one.
Irene's face turned sour for a second as she squeezed her lips together, audibly moistening them in a way that made Jen shudder.
Well, they're real.
Says who? You seen one?
You do know what they say about them, don't you? The beasts of the night are just your demons coming back to haunt you. Those with unfinished business.
Load of bollocks, all a big scam, I tell you.
Do you have any demons, Jen?
There was a pause, and it was on Jen's end this time.
Not that I know of. Unless that kid I said had a big-ass beak-looking nose in high school when I was 12 wants to come back after me. I reckon I'll be in the clear.
Right.
The conversation fell silent, with the dead air filled by the crashing of the wind against the cabin walls, and the tinkering of Jen's screwdriver against pristine metal plating. They were the first person that Irene had spoken to face-to-face in years, if you forgive the delivery driver that dropped her groceries to her once a week. But even then, he was always masked up and kept to himself. It was nice to have another human in the house again.
Are you sure I can't get you a drink of anything? Do you drink coffee?
Well, I typically start work at 5 in the morning, so... yeah, I'd say I drink my fair share.
Wonderful. I'll make you one, dear.
No. That's quite all right.
But Irene had already committed to the walk from the living room to the kitchen, and there was no way she was putting that much pressure on her hip without something to show for it. Irene reached into her kitchen cupboard, brushing past the boxes of PG tips and jars of pickled onions until she reached the instant coffee. She spooned it into the brown mugs, one for her and one for Jen, returning the coffee to the cupboard and looking out of the window as she stirred them thoroughly. Eyes drawn to the lamppost, she searched for the movement she swore she'd seen since the repulsor went down, but it never came. It was, aside from the thick snow falling outside, a static white landscape with a single sign of life in the middle. Through rain and snow, or wind and lightning, the lamppost had stood its ground. It had weathered every storm, every beast, and stood as proud as ever.
There's nothing out there. There is nothing out there.
Jen, on the other hand, had already fitted the replacement battery into the repulsor unit by the time Irene returned with her metal tray of coffees.
All done,
Jen said, closing her toolbox back up and showcasing her handiwork with a fancy gesture. All 3 lights were purple.
You're back in business.
Irene's face, as she placed the tray on the coffee table, was not one of delight, but rather something deeper.
Oh, great. Here's your coffee, by the way.
Jen looked at it, having a peek at her watch to see it had only just gone 12, and looked back to Irene's face. A kind face flanked by the wrinkles of time.
I suppose I can stay for a little bit. That's very kind of you.
She took a sip. It burned. She took another.
I will be off after this, though,
said Jen, sensing that Irene was a lonely old buzzard and wanted to nip the idea of an extended stay in the bud as soon as possible.
Can't hang about for too long. Girlfriend's making chicken tikka masala.
The first round of Scrabble went to Jen. Irene had been leading by a solid 15 points with words like repent for 16 on a double word score, and expunge on its own for 17. But Jen had crushed Irene's certain victory shortly after with family, worth 42 points on a triple word score, swinging the game in her direction. Irene conceded, and Jen was delighted to hear it. It was almost 2 in the afternoon now, and Jen was more than ready to pack up her things and go home, even though the blizzard raged on outside.
Do you have much in the way of family?
Irene asked, as she pointed to the Scrabble board, noticing Jen as she shuffled in her chair.
Yeah, too much if I'm being honest. My mother really shut us out when she was younger, you see, and...
Irene blinked.
Yeah, sorry. It doesn't matter.
No, it's okay. You're very lucky.
Suppose I am. My little brother, though, the youngest of us. He didn't make it quite as far as the rest of us.
I'm sorry. That's terrible.
Yeah, it is. Sometimes I still have nightmares about it. It's like he comes to me in the dark to tell me where he is, but that's what grief does to you, I guess.
There was a pause. Clocks ticked. Wind howled. Snow fell.
What about yourself? It sure seems like you're all on your own out here.
Irene licked her lips.
I am.
Oh, no kids, if that's not a rude question.
Oh, I have kids. Grandkids too, but I'm not allowed to see them. I don't deserve them, apparently.
Jen set the cup down on the cork coaster by the Scrabble board, looked into the pained face of the woman opposite her, and sighed.
Fancy another round? I reckon you'll beat me this time.
Don't patronize me.
That comment sucked all of the oxygen out of the room, and then some.
Sorry. It just gets tough out here for an oldie like me. I'd love another game. I'll fetch us some tea, and then you must be on your way.
She went to stand up, but Jen beat her to it, settling her back down with a gentle hand.
Don't worry, I'll sort it. Do you take sugar?
Irene nodded.
Great. See? We're getting to know each other. We'll be friends in no time.
I don't deserve friends.
Everyone deserves friends, Irene. Especially an old codger like yourself.
Jen wandered into the kitchen. Once there, her eyes caught a glimpse of something moving beyond the slats of the window. It could have just been the heavy snow and banging water pipes playing tricks with her mind, or it could have been something more. She knew that no beasts could break through the barrier of a functioning repulsor unit. They would be worthless otherwise. She pushed the thought out of her mind and focused instead on the door to what must have been Irene's bedroom. It hung off the side of the kitchen, just on the opposite wall to make the best use of the space, and the door itself was closed.
It's in the cupboard, to your right.
Jesus! Oh, Christ!
Irene was stood in the doorway to the kitchen, arms drooping lifelessly by her sides.
I got it. Thanks. Now go and sit down, woman. You scared the crap out of me.
Irene waddled back to her chair, out of sight.
And make sure to set the next game up. Helmy's... Huh.
With Irene out of the way, Jen couldn't help herself, and walked out of the kitchen and into the tiny freezing corridor beside it. There were 2 doors in the end. Having barely noticed the second one, tucked away at the back, with a coat rack standing in front of it. "Keep out," it said. Jen took that to mean the opposite, and with the sound of the crackling kettle to cover her tracks, she walked over to it and slid the coat rack out of the way. She peered over her shoulder. There was no one there. She opened the door and went inside. It wasn't a bedroom, nor was it as drab as the rest of the cabin. Instead, it was a bright and colourful study, like a classroom, with rainbows across every wall and a blackboard against the back. On the ground were toys, dozens of them, like stuffed baby dinosaurs and fluffy pink teddy bears. Beside the blackboard was a desk, a small teacher's desk, and there were some documents on it. She flicked her eyes across them, seeing nothing but basic sums and lesson plans in a grid, one of which was dated back to almost a decade ago. No, it was exactly a decade ago. The most important artifact, though, was the framed document on the wall. At first glance, Jen thought it was little more than a certificate, perhaps of Irene's teaching achievements prior to her retirement, but it wasn't that. It was a letter of dismissal, framed like it was something to be proud of. Jen squinted her eyes to read it. "Dear Mrs. Gelsomini," it read in some chunky blue text. "It is with some regret that I terminate your employment here with us at Sherville Academy. This was not an easy decision to make, but after careful consideration and many complaints from parents and guardians alike, we will be rescinding your position at our academy immediately and permanently. Regards, Principal Morris."
Son of a...
The kettle popped, a sound that made it from the kitchen to the hallway, and so Jen turned around to get back to it before Irene had time to notice she had gone for a walk around. Unfortunate, then, that she was already standing there.
What are you doing in here? This room is off limits.
What is this place?
I don't have to explain shit to you. I want you out of my house.
What did you do?
It doesn't matter. Get out! Now!
Her scream silenced the wind outside.
Okay, I'm leaving.
She was by the door with her toolbox before another word could be said. Brushing past Irene on the way out of her off-limits room, Jen kept her face forward and her eyes down.
Well, listen, thank you so much for all the hospitality, but I'll get out of your hair right away.
Irene stood with her arms folded in the kitchen, her eyes occasionally flicking to the window she'd since opened the blinds of, just so she could see the lamppost outside.
If you have any more issues with your repulsor, give us a call and we'll see what else we can do for you. Goodbye.
The lights in the cabin fizzled out, plunging the place into darkness, with the faint sound of a reactor powering down, followed by a quieter sound of one powering up again. It was the backup power, made purely for the repulsor in case of a power cut.
Oh, crap. Irene?
She heard nothing back.
Are you okay, lady?
The muted darkness filled the air, made only worse by the darkness that awaited her outside the cabin walls too, and the sound of wind rattling against the wood. A small, hunched little silhouette popped its head around from the kitchen.
There's something out there. There's something out there.
I'll go out there and look. Stay inside until I get back.
No, don't go out there. I'm sorry for yelling. Please stay. It's safer in here.
There's nothing out there, Irene. Trust me on this, but if it'll settle your mind, I'll double check it for you.
Please be careful.
I'll be fine.
She said, leaving her toolbox behind and stepping out into the cold.
And then I'm heading home so I can still get some of my girlfriend's curry.
She slammed the door shut. In the kitchen, Irene peered through the blinds and out into the dark, the fading light, and kept her eyes locked onto the lamppost.
There is nothing out there.
The metal pole that had survived so long, that had survived everything, rocked back and forth.
There is nothing out there.
Something lightly tapped against the wood outside, and then it started to scratch, as if it were trying to make its own way inside, if it couldn't find one to use.
There is nothing out there.
Minutes passed, or perhaps hours. The sun had vanished, and there, in the dark, with the bulb flickering into life as the power returned, stood the lamppost. It had weathered it all, and so, Irene believed, would she.
I just need time to explain myself. I just need time.
She took a deep breath. Everything was going to be okay. With a blast of wind, sounding like the crack of a whip against the side of Irene's head, the lamppost came crashing to the ground, mere inches from the window as it kicked up a wave of snow. She lurched backwards. The power flicked off again.
No, no, no.
Peering out one last time, her breath lingered on the glass as she pressed her face against it. She tried to wipe away the mist with her shirt sleeve, but when she found that it wouldn't budge, she realised why. The breath was on the outside of the glass. Staring, unable to move from the window, she saw 2 red, glowing pinpricks staring back at her as it lingered there as well. Her blood froze solid. The hairs on her body went rigid. There was something on the other side of the glass, and with its monstrous eyes burning in the dark, it had seen her. It knew she was in there. The repulsor was still faulty. It had to be. The power came back. Bolting into the living room, which was more of a power walk so that she didn't fall, Irene made it to Jen's toolbox and rooted through all the metal tools and spare batteries. She had no idea how she was supposed to replace a battery. After all, the Lupika Corporation kept this as a company secret, but she figured it shouldn't be too difficult. Sifting through it, she looked for the bypass, which Jen would have needed to do her job, and yet, no matter how hard Irene searched, she couldn't find it. What she did find, though, was a small booklet on operating and repairing a repulsor unit, an instruction manual. She opened it up, sifting through it in the hopes of finding how to repair the damn thing before the beast outside found its way in. Coming across a page that detailed the circular light system the repulsor used to determine its current state, she scanned the text for advice. Red, your repulsor unit is compromised and needs to be replaced. Green, your repulsor unit requires a firmware update. Nothing strange about those. In fact, she was confident she already knew that, but the final 2 sent a bolt down Irene's spine. Purple, your repulsor unit has a faulty battery. Please replace the battery. Blue, your repulsor unit is up and running. Sleep well. The manual slipped through her fingers and clattered into the toolbox. Her eyes glanced over at the unit in the corner of the room, the one Jen said she'd fixed, and noted the coloured circles. They were purple. The door burst open, smashing against the wall as a figure stood above her, a bright light burning from their skull. Panic shot through Irene's brain. This was it. The end. It was just Jen, wearing a headlamp.
Jesus, Irene! You alright?
Close the door! I saw it. I saw something out there. It looked right at me.
Hey, listen to me. There is nothing out there. You probably just saw me having a root around. I searched the whole perimeter.
No. There was something in the dark, Genevieve. It had these burning red eyes, like a demon.
Jen flicked the headlamp off and placed it down on the dresser beside the unit.
There can't be anything out there. The unit wouldn't allow it.
Those 3 purple lights, like the pinprick she saw through the window, bore into Irene's brain.
Then how come you messed it up?
Sorry?
You got the colors backwards. The unit is down. It's supposed to be blue.
Standing tall above the frail old woman, Jen's smile tightened as her teeth shone through, and she cracked her knuckles.
Oh, yeah. Funny that. Mind if I take a look at something?
Fix it! Now, before that thing gets in here!
Jen's slow walk showed that she had no intention of fixing it, and instead reached for the photo frame atop the dresser. The one with a picture from Irene's teaching days. One with smiles all around.
This is a nice photo, isn't it? Smiling children and a teacher that took care of them. Oh, very sweet.
What the hell are you talking about? Replace the battery!
But someone's missing from here, aren't they?
She tapped at the photo again, indicating to the uneven number of students to the teacher's left, and how there was even some empty space, a small segment of the beige wall behind them, where the missing person should have been. Irene's stomach swelled up like a pumpkin and tried to crawl its way out of her throat.
Get out of my house! Leave!
Do you know who was supposed to be here?
There was a pause. Irene shook her head.
His name was Edmund. And he was my little brother.
Jen hurled the photo frame against the wall. Glass burst across the carpet as the frame clattered to the ground, and the photo drifted peacefully towards her feet.
He was in your class, wasn't he? He's been to your house.
I didn't do anything.
Jen stamped on Irene's hand, popping a bone out of the curled index finger and grabbed a fistful of her grey hair, putting her face right in hers before she spat in it.
He was going to tell us about what you'd been doing to him. You know. And when you didn't like it, when you thought your cushy little career was going to fall apart, you said you'd destroy his life and that you had the means to do it. Do you know what he did?
Irene, once again, shook her head. But she already knew what.
He went into your bathroom and slit his wrists in the tub. Didn't he?
It wasn't like that.
What did you do with the body?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Jen hoisted her up by her hair and dragged her into the kitchen, clamping her hands around Irene's face to force her to look out of the window, towards where the lamppost had always been, her one beacon in the cold. A reminder. And as Jen made her look at it, holding her eyelids open until her vision turned blurry, one that she wished she'd simply forgotten.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
The cabin shook as something crashed against the outer walls. Not wind, but something weightier. The power flickered off and on as chunks of wood came breaking away and water pipes burst.
Come in, Edmund! I've set you free.
Jen threw Irene to the floor, where her hip went out of whack and she smashed her head on the coffee table.
I think you two have some unfinished business.
With bleary eyes, Irene looked up to the front door as it exploded into the room, covering her in wooden splinters that stuck themselves to her skin. A silhouette stood in its place. One of small stature with the cold at its back and glowing eyes within its head. Red eyes, like pinpricks. With a flick of the light, she saw the figure for what they were. A small child with flesh falling from their bones, their skin having been peeled back across their face as snow covered the boy's swollen skull. His eyes were sunken, the skin that remained was grey and tight, and both arms had deep gashes from the wrist to the elbow. The fear paralysed the wretched old woman, and as the thing she tried to repress for a decade, her Snowbeast, her demon, shambled towards her with hunger in its eyes, all she could do was scream. Echoes in a Jar is powered by Patreon. Thank you to the most recent supporters of the show. Supporter Levi Burzlaff-Luett and Matthew Siadak, and associate producer Sean Holden. If you would like to support the show, swing on by patreon.com/echoesinajar and you too could get your name at the end of every episode. Thank you for listening, and always read the label.